We're going to go right now live to Mayor Olivia Chow, who's making a housing announcement this morning. Let's listen in.
Single mom, you're waiting. It's like 13 years. By the time you get the unit, your child might be very old. Your children might be old. It's difficult because Toronto is experiencing a housing crisis. Yes, we talked about how I've inherited a financial mess, a shortfall of $1.8 billion. And in this kind of situation, when you craft a budget, there's a choice. We could do nothing, offer no hope to people that are on the waiting list, or we could create more housing, more rent geared to income housing. And the choice for me is clear, that I want to create more housing. And in this budget, in the staff budget that is presented, there will be 1,296, close to 1,300 household, more than what we have before, that would be able to have a roof over their head rather than staying in shelters. Why is it that rent geared to income important? Rent geared to income is not just about 80% of the market rent. It's 30% of the income of a person. That is important because your income sometimes go up, sometimes you go down. And it gives you a safety net so that when you get laid off, for example, or you get sick, you have no job, you will not get evicted. And that's important because affordable housing changes lives for people. It keeps them housed rather than being in shelter or living on the street or in a tent. The city can play a role in ending homelessness by creating a lot more affordable housing, and that is my top priority. In fact, State of Toronto works with 280 housing providers to deliver 92,000 social and affordable homes. And in this staff budget, the investment from the city is $180 million to help provide this kind of housing. That is money that would keep thousands of people housed, give them the stability they could work, raise families, and stabilize their lives. Coming in here reminded me of my family. My mom and dad came to Canada, and myself came to Canada when I was 13. We lived in St. Jamestown. And then I went to university. But my mom and dad, because my dad was an abusive person, my mom finally, because I have an income, finally moved out to my basement apartment way back down in Kensington Market because I was in a economically stable. But my dad himself could not pay the rent for the apartment that he was living in because he was in pension. He never really worked in Canada. So he applied for rent geared to income housing right here in Toronto. And the wait was long. And because my dad has a mental illness, which is why he couldn't work, he often missed the letter that comes to say that you need to renew your housing application. And one day I asked my dad, what's happening to your wait to get affordable housing? And he said, I don't know. So I looked at the pile, the mountain.
We've been listening to Mayor Olivia Chow making a housing announcement this morning.
All right, welcome back. Mayor Olivia Chow is making a housing announcement this morning. Let's listen.
Yeah, sorry to diverse. Yeah, you can ask me whatever you need to ask me. Should we give this young man a minute or so? He and I was at the No, we should keep rolling. Okay, all right. The busway. Why the busway? And Scarborough residents deserves the best kind of transit ever. And for a long time, they've been left behind. It is sad to see the Scarborough RT derailed. It's sad to see it go out of service. And it's not fair for all the folks, 20+ thousand people, that now have to take the bus instead of the RT to connect, which means that they now have to spend 20 minutes more instead of taking the RT. So I know that the busway is very important. I await to see the report, to see what TDC have confirmed. I believe TDC today, this morning, said that it's not in the staff budget. I'm listening to the people that are making deputations. I'm hearing the people in Scarborough want their busway built. They want the money put into the budget. I'll see what I can do come February 1st when I put forward my budget.
Mayor Chow, you talked a lot about the fact that you didn't create this mess.
I didn't.
You inherited it. Did you also inherit the mess with the RT? Because that seems
Yep.
like something that's been a problem and the previous administration maybe should have looked at. Is that how you feel?
I can't begin to describe, it's not just the financial mess, it's the housing crisis mess, it's the public transit. When I came in, yes, I faced a $1.8 billion deficit. I faced a public transit system where the fares went up, the service went down. I faced a situation where the Scarborough RT derailed, where the RT had to be shut down, where people have to take the bus and it takes so much longer. And that 85,000 people are waiting for affordable, 85,000 households, over 100,000 people are waiting for affordable housing, rent geared to income housing. That is unacceptable, all of it, whether it's the financial mess, the TTC housing, broken fountain, water fountain, potholes, all of that needs to be fixed, which is why this budget, I have a choice. Do I ignore the problem, or do I make sure that the city get back on track, fix the mess, and provide some of the needed services that the Torontonians ask for and demand? That is the challenge facing me. I have between now and February 1st, today's 25th, 6 days before I launch the budget. It will be 6 long days where I need to do some serious Excel spreadsheet and see how much I can afford.
That said, you have another request from another organization, the Toronto Youth Cabinet.
Oh, yes.
Has sent you a letter asking for more youth spaces, more youth employment initiatives, something that's close to your heart, nutrition programs that you were involved in for many years. What more can be done for the youth and young people in the city?
I got the Toronto Youth Cabinet letter. It was sent to us at 8:30 this morning. I read it a few minutes ago. I immediately thought of something. In this city budget, the student nutrition program has extra money. Why do they need extra money? Because the food costs have gone up. So already in this budget, there is add-in extra dollar. Is it enough? Probably not. Do we need to increase funding for this program? Perhaps. I note that I think that the Ontario government have invested some millions into the student nutrition program. I'm looking at how we could partner with them. Other programs that was discussed in the letter includes recreation hub, include after-school activities, employment programs, awarding leadership, youth leadership, all of those things are great programs. I will be looking at the letter very carefully to see what are some of the things that we may or may not be able to afford. And I would check the staff budget, whether it addressed already some of their concerns. I do note that in this existing budget, there are extra funds in the Parks and Recreation programs. And is it enough? I'm not sure. But I do know that investing in young people, especially when they're 12, 13, when they are just in 7, 8, when they are just coming looking for role models, having good after-school programs for them, good role modeling, mentorship programs, homework clubs, all of those things can lift these young people up and give them a bright future. And it's important, whether it is physical, so they have food in their tummy, so they can grow well physically, or mentally, so that they will be challenged, so they have the potential to be the best they can, or that they could learn a skill, because at that time they want to learn, they're curious about life. That is the best time for having good role models, having good after-school programs where they could learn. And I do know that the City of Toronto offer after-school recreation programs called ARC for 9 to 12-year-old, and then there's a program that's from 13 to 16, 17 years old. Good programs, perhaps need some investment. We will see.
Mayor, another thing that predates your time in office, in 2017, the city began assessing tobogganing hills. This year, it banned 45 tobogganing hills
yes.
across the city. The Canadian Pediatric Society is encouraging some risky play for kids. Where do you stand on this tobogganing ban?
I went and actually checked a few years ago. Well, I take my grandkids to toboggan all the time. I have some videos that are very precious, where there's the kind of laughter as we go down the tobogganing hill. It's just, those are very, very beautiful memories I have with my friends and my kids. We want young people, we want children to have fun. We do want them to have very calculated, to take some calculated risk, but we also want to keep them safe. I've been working with our city manager to find some ways to find a middle ground. I understand that our city lawyers are saying that there's court case if that hill has barriers or trees that hurt kids. And yes, I do understand that kids sometimes need to learn to take calculated risk also. And so there will be, I believe, a motion that will be coming to council in February that sort out this question of ban, warning, or no ban, no warning, free-for-all. So somewhere in between, I think, as Torontonians, are good at finding balance to make sure that kids have a great time, family feels good, but we also, our lawyers give us good, obey legal advice. Okay, so I'm sure we can find some kind of balance somewhere along there. And I could name some of the, where there's Christie Pitts with one set of grandkids, which is permitted, Trinity Bellwoods Park, another set of grandkids that are not permitted. I have 4 grandkids, so two at Christie Pitts and 2 at Trinity Bellwoods. So you have to figure that out. One's not allowed, one's allowed. So somewhere in between, we'll find that balance.
Well, Mayor Chow, on that, last week I was at Eastland Park talking to people.
You're at
Eastland Park?
Yep.
And they said,
Where the big accident, there's lawsuit and all that.
so there's a hill there. Some residents were telling me that there used to be hay bales that were around the bottom of light standards and trees.
There's a what?
There used to be hay that you could.
Right, to keep it safe, yes.
Yeah, but they say now that's not there, and it's just been replaced with a sign that says don't do it. So they said, kind of ironically, the city has made it more unsafe by just putting up that sign, because kids are still going down that hill. So,
Yeah, we need to sort that out. Yes, I know that. But yes, there was a serious injury, and there's lawsuits involved, so I can't comment on that as to why there's hay and no hay. But it's bogged down in some legal situation. But just lifting it back up to all the other hills, there are a lot of hills that one could, I wish there was more snow, but that's beside the point. I took my grandkids skiing at Earl Bell's Park. That's where my grandkids learn how to ski. And in every sports, whether it's skiing, tobogganing, or skating, there's a little bit of risk involved. You just want to be very safe, and the city wants kids and families to have fun. I'll do my best to find a good balance between risk, fun, and in serious injuries. Let's not have those serious injuries. Let's protect our residents, but also allow for children to enjoy themselves.
so today's the last day of kind of deputations.
All right, we've been listening to Mayor Olivia Chow make a housing announcement. She's at 176 Elm Street. The primary focus was on rent geared to income. As of late, she's been taking questions from reporters, some about the budget, which she has to present to council February 1st.